Morning, Ralph. Morning, Sam.
Hey guys, welcome to Morning Sam, Morning Ralph, your favorite restaurant technology podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Chad Horn. Chad, what's a good word?
What's the good word? There's a few good words. I got out of Florida. That's one.
Just in a nick of
I
time.
was cutting it close, but I got out of Dodge. Our partner Michael there to weather the storm by himself, but got home.
Yeah, we have Lauren Selman here today. And Lauren's been around, as far as I can remember. Now, granted, my memory only goes back about 10, 12 years, but she's always been there. And she's just like this everlasting presence. Pretty cool that we got her.
I think so.
How'd you do it?
I don't know. So anyway, in this episode, we're excited to welcome Lauren Selman. She's the VP of Operations at International Food and Beverage Technology Association, better known as the IFBTA. And they're an organization that's focused on bringing together professionals to drive technology innovation for the food and beverage industry. So this is going to be a great episode for anybody that's interested in how collaboration really fosters innovation in food and bev. And Chad, collaboration has seemed to be a central thread that goes through a lot of our conversations, isn't it?
It absolutely is, as it should be. It's how things get done. Two heads are better than one, as they say.
Why don't you introduce Lauren?
All right. Well, you've already shared a bunch, but I'll also add, other than your role at IFBTA, we know you're involved as a co-founder of Worth, Women of Restaurants, Technology, and Hospitality. So look forward to picking your brain on that. And outside of work, we understand you're an avid theater lover, live in Maryland with your husband and two sons.
Yeah.
Your husband's a cool guy. I know him too.
Thank you. I will tell him you say hi.
All right. Well, Lauren, let's jump in and learn a little bit more of these orgs you're a part of. Starting with the IFBTA, what is the mission of this organization?
Sure. And first of all, thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I'm really excited to talk to two people that I have known for a very long time. And Paul, your memory does serve you correctly. It is about 12 years. You did good.
I think we both jumped in around the same time. Yeah.
We did. We were doing the conference circuit back then together pretty much all the time. But yeah, so the International Food and Beverage Technology Association, we are a not-for-profit trade association, and we focus on networking and education of the global food and beverage industry. So the way that I like to explain it to people is anything that falls into those two camps, we want to focus on. We offer a lot of educational opportunities. We have a certification program. We put out white papers. We host meetings in local cities in our chapters. We have a virtual chapter. But really, my job and the goal of the IFBTA is to be the primary connector of all things technology and all things food and beverage. So our membership is made up of industry operators and suppliers, event organizers, media companies, students and universities. Really, anyone can be a member, but our focus is how we can drive technology and make those conversations happen amongst those people.
How do you find the balance, or what is the right balance between food and beverage and technology?
How do you find the balance between food and beverage and technology? Do you want to clarify that a little bit more?
Yeah.
Seems quite big.
Because, there's those folks that are going to not be as technologically inclined, but maybe have a lot to offer in terms of how to run a strong operation, be hospitable to the guest, and just really run the restaurant without the leaning on the tech. But then, especially as time is marching on, people are realizing tech plays a bigger role in delivering hospitality and running a successful business. So do you have people on both sides there, or more people in the middle? What do you got?
Yeah, I understand now. So I think the best way to answer that is allowing people to have open and honest conversation is really what is key there. So on one side of the spectrum, you have your industry suppliers who in and of themselves can range in size. You have your startups who are new players to the industry. You have your tried and true 50-year plus organizations. Similarly, on the operator side, you have your smaller independent mom and pops. You have your 5 or 10 unit operators all the way up to thousands. And I think it's just a matter of how you're getting those conversations started. So if you have someone in your organization who is technology focused, obviously they're coming into the conversation with a little bit of a leg up. What we find, though, is for people who either don't have a technology focused representative or are just starting out or only have a small number of units, they are the ones who are most likely to go to their operator counterparts in other brands for that information. And usually what's happening is they're having these conversations where they say, how should I be introduced to this? Or who should I be talking to? And then I think that is the gateway to how they understand more of the technology ecosystem that's available to them.
Yeah. Speaking of gateways, one of the things that I've always found interesting about IFBTA was the idea of chapters, right? So you're able to really zero in on a local level. It's not this single event or this one big thing that happens from time to time. Tell me a little bit about these chapters and how many are there? What do they do?
Sure. So I want to take a quick step back because you brought up a really interesting point there. So our founder, Rob Grimes, who many people, yes, you, Rob, who many people know as the founder of FS Tech, once he stopped working on the conference itself, he wanted to give back to the industry and provide an opportunity for people to get together and have these conversations focused on technology specifically. And you're right. What was happening is, although there are events, I would say, more and more popping up these days, there are probably 20, 30 events that a technology focused person could go to in our industry. Back then, there were maybe 5 or 6. And so what was happening is people would be going to these events for 2 or 3 days. They'd be having really great opportunities put in front of them. And then you would hope that they would go back to their companies and be able to impart wisdom to the rest of their team.
Right.
And so when we created the IFBTA and the chapter model, we wanted to be able to have a place where local representatives could go to on a consistent basis, mind you, every quarter of every year, people who aren't necessarily going to those conferences because they deserve to have the conversations just as much as their C-suite and VP counterparts. And that's not to say that we get attendees from all spectrums of titles, but it really was focused on being able to get people who weren't traveling to the FS Techs, the
It's
Mertecs.
about access, right? Access.
Correct.
Right? And let's face it, the reality is that shows are expensive. Generally speaking, the T&E bill for a team of folks, it could be astronomical. If you like.
Absolutely. And so to answer your actual question, though, we currently have 7 chapters across the US and in the UK, as well as a virtual chapter, which, as I mentioned, are meeting quarterly. And the way that Rob describes it is it was an art and not a science. We chose locations that had a large number of headquartered restaurant brands. And of course, we have a checklist of what it takes to open a new chapter. And it really is about finding that kind of core group of operators that can get together to discuss the technology. And then if you build it, they will come, as they say.
Are there any financial aspects to this? Meaning that operators are getting together. Are they getting together to create, just simply talk about problems and solutions that they may be having? Or is it more like buying power? Right?
So it's a little bit of everything. I will say that the biggest, one of the things I'm most proud of is the fact that we have fostered environments in our chapter meetings where people are having organic relationship building opportunities. When a new supplier comes to us and wants to talk about how they can get involved and engaged in our chapters, very frequently, and I don't mean it as a warning message or a slap on the hand, but very often I have to say, look, we don't have direct sales at our meetings. And the reason we do that is twofold. One is we don't want an operator coming to a meeting feeling like they're going to be swimming in a pool of piranhas. And we also don't want the supplier to come in feeling like, even though they might have an agenda, we don't want them coming in feeling this pressure to have to sell something. And what we've noticed, as you can imagine, is that those conversations get exponentially better when there isn't that pressure on either end of the spectrum. So people are typically coming to talk about pain points, challenges, successes, you name it. We do put a little bit of a parameter around the fact that we don't discuss formal pricing or products or sales for that matter, but those are important conversations and they do often come up.
Right. But often I'd imagine there's a lot of connections that happen that those conversations are happening offline.
Absolutely. And we make it very clear we are not looking to keep anyone from making a more formal connection that could turn into a customer. Ultimately, we want to be there to support the suppliers that we have in our membership and the operators while knowing what each of them independently want and are looking for from us. But if we are able to provide the environment where they can get together in that low pressure environment and then still get a sale out of it at the end of the day, it just puts a smile on our face.
Lauren, so that seems to be, maybe clarify, that's the essence of like the why and the how you guys are forming collaborations, but is there more to it than that, and that you would point to, like how the IFBTA fosters collaboration and partnership, or even some of your favorite examples of it?
Sure. I think so. I always like to say, let me back up for a moment. I assume both of you have seen Fiddler on the Roof.
Of course.
Okay, so Yenta the matchmaker, right? I feel like I am the modern day industry matchmaker of sorts. And so I want to be the person who's in the middle saying, this person wants to talk to this person, or this person needs this thing that you can offer, and here's how you two can get together. Or three people, however many. So the way that we're trying to position ourselves as the center of the ecosystem, if you will. We are Switzerland. We are not specifically selling anything. We're not selling anyone's products. We are solely here to provide opportunities for people to connect and learn. And wherever and however we can curate those experiences, that's what we're focused on. And that in particular is what I'm trying to tackle.
Gotcha. I love that. I love that analogy of like a matchmaker, right? It's true though, whether it's the Hinge or the OkCupid let's call you the OkCupid of.
Okay. We'll go a little less controversial.
Wherever you want to go. You can be Tinder, wherever you want to go with that. But so I just messing around with your website a little bit, noticed some pretty cool features and resources. You've got webinars, you've got certification. So I can be certified?
You can.
How does that work?
You too can become certified, Paul. You can become a certified food service technology professional. And so it is a 101 level self-paced course, takes about 6 hours from start to finish, covers 20 modules, everything from point of sale and back office systems to HRIS to RFPs and contracts, drive through, online ordering, you name it. It really covers a large spectrum. And of those 20 modules, you get 19 lovely little quizzes and one final exam. And presumably when you pass it, we send you a certificate of completion, and
I love that.
Hopefully you can go off into the world.
We're putting this on Popcorn's website. We're gonna have a direct link right over to IFBTA. Why not? I'm gonna certainly do it. Why not become a certified technology professional? Just looking at some of the.
We're gonna hold you to it, Paul.
Oh, I know you're gonna do it.
I get all of the completion emails, so I will let you know if you do that.
But I'm like looking at the name. You graciously put who the people were that were responsible for developing these modules. This is a pretty dope list.
Yeah, there's some heavy hitters on there, and
you got some connections there, Cupid.
Just a few. I told you, I'm okay if you call me Yenta from now on. Maybe as like my middle name or something. But I think what's really wonderful about the certification program is there are so many ways that it can be used. So when we first brought it forward, it was initially, we thought, I should say, for people who are either just starting out in the industry, new to food and beverage, or people who are new to technology. And then as we started distributing it, what we actually found is that a lot of our supplier members companies wanted to have their representatives and their sales team certified. Because, as you can imagine, many of those salespeople have a very large understanding of the specific product that they sell, but maybe not the larger breadth of topics in our industry. And what's great now, especially, is that with everyone, I will rephrase that, with many people playing well in the sandbox and forming integrations and partnerships among suppliers, it's that knowledge that is really going to allow that to thrive. So we were really excited when that started to happen because it was one of those use cases that we never envisioned, but has really turned out to be quite beneficial.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Chad,
Can I jump in on this one
yeah,
thing? I want
please.
to make sure there's one benefit we hit. So all of this collaboration, these conversations, at least where is in person and to some degree virtual, they happen in the context of these events. And
Mhm.
talk about certification. You're a certified meeting professional.
That I
How
am.
do you do events, and how do you see the future of events in our industry shaping out?
Oh, well, as someone who loves planning events and planning education for those events specifically, and someone who attends many events during the year, I think events are really changing. I think there are so many people wanting that time with their peers, if they're an operator wanting to talk to their peers, but also wanting to see what else is out there in technology. The shows, I would say, over the course of the year run the gambit of, we have some that hold 65,000 people and we have some that hold 1,000 people. And every show has its place for what it can offer attendees, but on both sides, the operators and the suppliers. But I think that people are really looking, again, similarly to the way that we focus on the IFBTA, people are looking for that educational content and their opportunity to connect with people. I always say, you mentioned that I'm an avid theater lover. My background's in musical theater and then entertainment PR. And events always was this shiny little passion thing that I didn't know what to do with until I started working on FS Tech and then with the association. And I think people just want to have that time. And shows, I think, are realizing that they need to change the way that they're scheduling
Mm.
and provide those opportunities that are a little more, I don't even know what the word is. They need to provide opportunities where people can form meaningful connections in 3 days, because I think they've lost
Do you
some
think
of
that would be more like
the shimmer.
experiential based, like more like ATV rides in the desert? What?
Well, look, there are certainly more experiential activations popping up in our industry. People are playing pickleball before shows. People are golfing. It's not just that one time where you come and you're going to a trade show floor for hours and sitting in sessions. And I do think, for what it's worth, I do think there are opportunities, really great opportunities for people to make connections and even sell, quite frankly, at things like receptions and parties and golf and activity based things. But I read something earlier or not too long ago that said something like, events are easy for extroverts. You need to plan events where introverts can feel at home and at ease. And we all know the restaurant industry, there is literally nothing like it.
That's right.
And we all, I think just in general as people, we all live to connect with one another. And so event organizers, I think, are trailing a little bit behind and figuring out clever ways to, or innovative ways, I should say, to get people together that isn't so put in the box of the schedule
I couldn't
that
agree
we
with you
typically
more.
have.
I think it's fascinating that you bring up the idea there are introverts and extroverts, and certainly lots of gray in the middle. When you think about uh, technology professionals and perhaps technology buyers and people that have come up with their entire career with building and managing systems, yeah, not to stereotype at all, because there are different types of personalities everywhere, but you tend to think it might lean a little bit more towards the introversion
Mhm.
side. And then you have the industry, the technology industry, which is comprised of salespeople, marketers, founders. You know, you can say that they might be more A type. And when you do put that mixture together and you create that, you have what could be a really interesting event if planned for both types.
Absolutely. And I don't, am I allowed to curse?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay. I don't want to shit on suppliers in any capacity,
Good.
or event organizers for that matter. But events, the booth setup is antiquated. I think
Yeah.
at this point, there are two things that I think very strongly. One is people don't want to stand in booths for hours at a time, trying to make eye contact, trying to figure out what your badge says when half of the people's badges are turned around anyway.
Yeah.
And also on the flip side, the operators are finding, for whatever reason, I don't exactly know what the answer is, but they are seemingly spending less and less time on show floors. And you need, as an event organizer, to be able to attract them back, because ultimately those are the people that are financing your event. And so I think event organizers just, they need to understand, and I'm sure they do, I how much change and how quickly can you really change anything like that? But they really need to understand that operators want the time to be able to connect with the suppliers, and suppliers obviously want that time as well, but there are better ways to do it. And I think whomever can crack that code first is going to have a highly successful show.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Well, let's use this opportunity talking about meaningful connection to transition to another organization you're a part of, Worth, which stands for Women of Restaurants, Technology, and
But
Hospitality.
before we do,
Yes?
sorry, brother, I had to cut you
You
off.
can do it again to me, huh, Paul? Okay.
You do this at the 23-minute mark every single time.
Let's go.
He's
Let's go.
consistent.
Let's take a break right there. When we get back, Chad is going to ask the burning question to Lauren about worth. What's her worth? What's his worth? We'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail.
Listen, Ethel, I think we're fighting a losing game.
All right. Before I was predictably cut off to take our break, we were getting into asking Lauren about Worth. Lauren, this is an awesome org. Why don't you tell us about it, please? What is
Sure.
Worth?
So I am really excited that you asked this question. Worth is Women of Restaurants, Technology, and Hospitality. And we are myself, Crystal Craven, and Tammy Billings, both of whom are industry leaders and staples, again, on the conference circuit.
Yeah.
We felt like there was a need to have a representation of a female group that was tech focused. And to be totally honest with you, there aren't many women, or aren't as many women as there should be, in roles of leadership in our industry, and certainly not many communities available where we can talk to one another. But maybe more so than that, this actually started because female experience at conferences and the female experience in our industry can often be a daunting one, where we are forced to experience unfortunate circumstances that we have to navigate. And so Worth was really created as a decentralized network where we could not only provide opportunities to get together with our like-minded female peers, but also talk about those uncomfortable conversations, not only amongst ourselves as women, but also with the men that support us in our industry, so that we can make a path forward, make it a little more safe and enjoyable, and give a real platform for the experiences that many of us have unfortunately had over the years.
Lauren, for those who are listening to you and that sounds awesome, what does it look like to join, participate? What's involved?
As far as Worth is concerned?
Yeah.
Sure. So we have a lovely website. It's womenofrestaurants.com. That is really just a very basic website where you can see where we are participating. We've had some really amazing opportunities to speak to various employee resource groups, as well as at a few conferences. We've had the support, thankfully, of many event organizers to better understand what we're trying to accomplish and support their events to make them a better experience for women. But really, once you go to womenofrestaurants.com, that gives you all of the information you need to be able to join our LinkedIn group, to find us, to take a pledge, to be a support and ally, and to be able to contact us if need be.
Fantastic. We will definitely put those links in the show links. Now, switching gears a little bit, this is the part of the show that I love, and it's called Hate to Tell You But. And this is an opportunity where you, Lauren, get to talk about a misconception that you see out there, or a myth that you'd like to bust. What is your Hate to Tell You But, Lauren?
I would like to bust a few of them. However, if I had to pick just one, I would say, I hate to tell you, but the future is female.
Oh.
And having women, more women, all the women at your table is only going to benefit everyone's experience, I think. And again, not to shit on anyone, not to shit on the two men on this podcast or anyone out there for that matter. But I think there really has been an amazing light shown on the women who are real power players in our industry. And I think people are starting to realize that we can offer something that oftentimes was going to our male counterparts. So I am a firm believer, not only because I am a woman myself, but the future is female. 100%.
That works. Hey, we're in the hospitality business. It's for everybody.
That it is. That it is.
Well, this is pretty cool. And I can live with that, hate to tell you, but I really
Okay.
yeah, it's all good. I'll tell you what, though.
It's going to make our industry way better.
Yeah, I think our industry would be way better, frankly. Hey, so this has been a really pretty awesome conversation today, Lauren. I'd love for you to help us wrap up a little bit with how can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about Worth or want to learn more about or any of these amazing chapter meetings that are going on?
Sure. That's easy. So again, worthwomenofrestaurants.com. That's the easy place to find us. As far as the IFBTA is concerned, we are at ifbta.org. All of our chapter meetings, all of our resources, all of our upcoming events are posted there, as well as the certification program, which I know you will be clicking on as soon as we are done here, Paul. I'm looking forward to sending you your certificate of completion. And then, of course, anyone can contact me. My email is lauren@ifbta.org, or I'm on LinkedIn, which hopefully you will follow me because, as you said, I go to a lot of industry events and I would love the opportunity to meet more people.
Absolutely. Where are you off to next?
Ooh, next is possibly London. We have a lot of partnerships, which I guess I neglected to mention. Partnerships are obviously key to the collaboration conversation. And for us, that goes beyond, not only beyond the food and beverage industry, that's also into hospitality and retail, but also globally. So we partner with a lot of event organizers. And one of those shows that we are going to be at next is the Hospitality Tech Expo. So hopefully I will see someone there that I know.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Chad, this was a good one.
It was a very good one.
I think
we've really enjoyed talking to Yenta today.
Yeah, she's really excellent. And you know what? I think it also proved out something that we've been thinking all along, and that is collaboration really is the thing, isn't it? This is what makes the industry so vibrant. It's the fact that not only can we get together online, we can get together at shows, we can get together in these membership organizations, we can collaborate and solve big problems because the industry is in no way, shape, or form out of the woods yet. We've got a long way to go. So
yeah,
good stuff, guys.
And I know we've got some restaurant tech companies listening, suppliers as they've been referred to on the show. So mental note, everybody, right? If you drop the sales pitch and just meaningfully connect with people, you'll make more meaningful connections. And that will lead to better things for you and the industry.
Can I add to that? I would add one more thing. Play nice in the sandbox. You know, there is no reason that you can't partner with people who even seemingly might be competition. You never know what those integrations and partnerships could have for you.
Amen.
And I think the operators who work with you would also well, and the operators who work with you would be better off for it as well.
So 1,000,000% true.
Good stuff, guys. All right, wrapping up another Morning Sam, Morning Ralph. We are clocking out. Lauren, it was awesome to see you again. Great to hear your voice. Good luck and travel safe.
Thank you so much.
Lauren.
Thank you.
All right.